My childhood friend's confession changed everything. I'm 28 now, and I thought I had processed every major trauma from my childhood. I was wrong. 3 weeks ago, my best friend since kindergarten, Emma, told me something that made me question every single memory I have from ages 6 to 16. I'm still shaking as I write this. Emma and I were inseparable growing up in small-town Ohio. We lived 2 houses apart on Maple Street, and our mothers were convinced we were twins separated at birth. We had the same strawberry blonde hair, the same freckles, even the same laugh. We shared everything: lunch money, clothes, secrets whispered under blanket forts at 2 a.m. She knew about my first crush before I did. I knew about her parents' divorce before her little brother did. Our favorite game was twin telepathy. We'd sit cross-legged on her bedroom floor, eyes closed, concentrating hard, trying to send each other messages. Emma always won. She'd guess my thoughts with scary accuracy, what I had for breakfast, which boy I liked, even what I was worried about. I just assumed she was naturally intuitive. Looking back, there were so many signs I missed. The confession happened 3 weeks ago at our 10-year high school reunion. Emma looked nervous all night, barely touching her wine, fidgeting with her wedding ring. Around midnight, as we sat in her car outside the hotel, she finally spoke. "Sarah, I need to tell you something I should have told you 20 years ago." My stomach dropped. The way she said it, with this hollow, desperate voice, I knew it was going to be bad. "You remember our twin telepathy game?" I nodded, confused. "Of course. You always won because you were psychic or something." Emma laughed, but it sounded broken. "Sarah, I was never psychic. I was reading your diary." The world tilted. "What? Every single day for 10 years? Your mother gave me a key to your house when we were 6, remember? For emergencies? I used it almost daily. I'd sneak in when you were at piano lessons, at the dentist, anywhere. I'd read your diary, memorize everything, then rush home and pretend I was telepathic. I felt physically sick." "Emma, that's not possible. I would have noticed. You had 17 different diaries between ages 6 and 16. I remember every single hiding spot. Under your mattress, inside your pillowcase, taped to the bottom of your desk drawer, in the shoebox behind your winter clothes. You never suspected because I was so careful. I'd photograph the pages with my mom's camera, then study them later." The specificity of her confession was what made it real. She knew details I'd forgotten myself. My crush on Mr. Peterson in 3rd grade. The time I stole $5 from my dad's wallet. My fears about my parents fighting late at night. "The worst part," Emma continued, tears streaming down her face, "is that I used everything against you. Remember in 8th grade when you had that huge crush on Jake Morrison? I convinced you he liked brunettes, so you dyed your hair. But I knew from your diary that you were insecure about being blonde. I wanted to make you feel worse about yourself." My hands were shaking. "Why would you do that to me?" "Because I was jealous. Insanely, pathetically jealous. Your parents never fought. Your dad never left. You got straight A's without trying. Boys liked you first. I felt like I was living in your shadow." Sigh. "I started manipulating you. Making you doubt yourself. Making you need me. Then came the revelation that broke me completely." "Sarah, do you remember the night before your sweet 16? You wrote about how excited you were, how it felt like the first day of your real life. I read that entry and I called your parents pretending to be concerned about you. I told them I'd overheard you planning to lose your virginity at your party. with 3 different boys. I stared at her, speechless. Your parents canceled everything. The party, the dress, the DJ you'd been planning for months. You were devastated. You locked yourself in your room for a week. And I came over every day, bringing you ice cream, telling you your parents were just overprotective, that I'd always be there for you. The memory hit me like a physical blow. That had been the worst week of my teenage life. My parents had been furious, disappointed, cold. I'd felt betrayed and misunderstood. And Emma had been my only comfort. You orchestrated my worst teenage heartbreak just to play hero afterward. Emma nodded, sobbing now. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I was sick. I was addicted to being needed by you. Every time I read about you being happy or confident, I'd find ways to sabotage it. Then I'd swoop in to comfort you. I sat in that car for 20 minutes, processing 20 years of false memories. Every moment of childhood comfort, every instance where Emma had been my rock during difficult times, it was all contaminated. She had been the one creating the difficulties. There's more, she whispered. I actually laughed. A bitter, hysterical laugh. More? What else could there possibly be? The reason I'm telling you this now, it's because my daughter is 6. She has a best friend, just like we did. And last week, I caught myself reading her text messages. I realized I was about to do the same thing to her that I did to you. I can't live with that. I got out of the car without another word. I haven't spoken to Emma since. The worst part isn't the betrayal, it's the retroactive poisoning of every childhood memory I treasured. That time she comforted me after my first heartbreak? She probably caused it. The way she always knew exactly what to say when I was upset. Because she'd been reading my private thoughts for hours. Our entire friendship was built on a foundation of systematic psychological manipulation. I've been in therapy for 3 weeks now. My therapist says what Emma did was a form of emotional abuse, creating problems, then positioning herself as the solution. She says Emma's confession, while necessary for her own healing, has essentially weaponized my childhood against me. The strangest part is that Emma was genuinely my best friend in many ways. The comfort she provided, even if manufactured, helped me through real pain. The memories themselves, laughing until we cried, staying up all night talking, defending each other against school bullies. Those moments were real, even if her motivations were twisted. But now I question everything. Every friend who seems to understand me too well. Every time someone offers comfort during my lowest moments. Was my ex-husband's concern genuine when I was struggling with anxiety, or was he manipulating me too? Are my current friendships real, or am I just easy prey for people who enjoy psychological control? Emma has tried calling me 17 times. She's left voicemails apologizing, explaining that she's in therapy, that she wants to make amends. She says she's telling me because she loves me and wants to break the cycle. But I can't help wondering, is this just another manipulation? Is her guilt genuine, or is she creating drama to insert herself back into my life as my emotional support system? The most disturbing thought is this: if Emma could maintain such an elaborate deception for 10 years starting at age 6, what else don't I know about the people closest to me? How many of my relationships are based on information asymmetries I'm not even aware of? I keep thinking about Emma's daughter. Part of me wants to warn the mother of her best friend. But what would I even say? Hey, your 6-year-old's best friend might grow up to be a sociopath. And wouldn't that just be continuing the cycle of interference that Emma started? My therapist says I need to decide whether to confront Emma directly, cut contact entirely, or try to rebuild our relationship with new boundaries. But how do you rebuild trust with someone who systematically demolished it for a decade during your formative years? The confession that was supposed to free Emma has imprisoned me in a world where I can't trust my own memories or judgment about people. Every act of kindness feels suspect. Every show of understanding seems potentially manipulative. So here's my question for anyone reading this. If someone confessed to manipulating you for years but claimed they were doing it out of love and want to change, would you give them another chance? Can someone who started manipulating you as a child ever truly stop? And how do you learn to trust again when your most foundational friendship was built on lies? What would you do?